The story begins with ships firing at an unusual island. This island is not ordinary because it's inhabited by monsters. These creatures are terrifying, and the people on the island rely on hunters to eliminate them. The hunters are ready to take down these monsters, even when faced with giant red ants that appear before them. These ants are huge and scary, but the hunters prioritize fighting them to protect their commander. Unfortunately, the ants turn out to be incredibly powerful, and they start attacking the hunters mercilessly. The leader, who was their hope, lies injured on the ground. He's on the verge of losing consciousness. Just when things seem bleak, a person named Byung arrives and saves the commander from the ants' attack. Byung uses his healing magic to tend to the commander's wounds. However, the stubborn ants continue to attack, and this time, another hunter named Yoonseok uses his thunder power to knock the ants away. Despite their efforts, many ants are still around them. Yeonho, another hunter, uses his incredible strength to fight them off. The hunters protect Byung, who is trying to heal the injured. As they struggle against the ants, a giant white ant, considered the boss of the ants, appears. It's about to crush Yeonho, but he manages to hold its tentacles. Yoonseok takes advantage of the situation and delivers a massive shock to the ant. Yeonho removes its tentacles and creates an opening in its stomach by throwing them inside. Together, they defeat the giant ant. After catching their breath, they prepare to face more white giant ants that come out of their den. These ants are a formidable force, but the hunters are determined to fight back. Meanwhile, Mr. Choi, the commander, uses his fire magic to battle the ants in the city. He succeeds in eliminating many of them, but there's still a large army to contend with. He signals his army to follow his lead. The story then takes us back in time, explaining that many years ago, a portal opened in the world, leading to the appearance of monsters. Conventional weapons proved ineffective against these monsters. Only those with special weapons and fighting techniques, known as hunters, could stand a chance. These hunters are classified based on their abilities, with S rank being the highest and E rank the lowest. Fast forward 3 years, and we see Kim and Park meeting at a hunter spot. They're happy to see each other after a long time. Kim had thought Park had quit hunting, but Park's priority is to earn money, especially with his wife being pregnant. Jinwoo arrives, and it's evident that he's a high-rank hunter based on the respect he receives from those around him. However, Kim clarifies that Jinwoo is the weakest among them, and there's no hope of his promotion. Park teases him, and Kim urges Park to be discreet because they don't want to hurt Jinwoo's feelings. Unfortunately, Jinwoo overhears and acknowledges that he's the weakest among them. Jinwoo encounters Jui, a healer, and greets her warmly. However, she's not in a welcoming mood, likely due to his facial scars. She reprimands him for not taking a healer on their team more seriously. Jinwoo explains that their team, belonging to high-ranking hunters, doesn't need a healer. He knows his abilities and low rank, so he doesn't have any complaints. Despite this, Jui continues to blame him for not taking his life as a hunter seriously, and he apologizes for his mistake. Just then, a man named Mr. Song introduced himself as a team leader, and everyone welcomed him because his rank was higher than theirs. After that, they continued to move toward the portal. Park, who was passing by Jinwoo, advised him to stick with their group to stay alive. As he moved ahead, Jinwoo looked at his weapon, which was not powerful. Instead, it was just an ordinary weapon because he didn't have enough money to buy a high-ranked one. Ignoring his weapon's limitations, he stepped forward towards the portal as he knew that his never-ending war awaited him. On the other hand, the president informed his secretary about the government's demand to prevent further dungeon breaks. They were also demanding precious supplies from the dungeon. Their request wasn't unreasonable because these gems and stones could be used to create unique weapons. The president, known as Go, showed his secretary a crystal derived from a slain magic beast, highlighting its rarity. Meanwhile, Jinwoo looked at the gem in his hand and felt pleased, even though he hadn't killed a high-ranked monster. He had managed to defeat an E-rank monster. However, another monster suddenly attacked him, bringing him out of his imaginary world. Ready to fight back, Jinwoo realized that his dagger didn't support him and had broken. The demon attacked him and started cutting his stomach. Before the demon could succeed, another hunter approached and knocked it down. Later, this hunter moved forward to kill other monsters. Jui, scared as she watched Jinwoo's injuries, moved forward to heal him, confident that she could cure him. Meanwhile, Jinwoo shifted his attention to the hunters with remarkable power, feeling like nothing more than trash before them. Aside from this, President Go explained that with dungeon gems, they could create weapons capable of killing mighty creatures. Additionally, mana crystals were found in dungeons, and weapons could be created from them. However, compared to gem weapons, these mana crystal weapons were not as valuable. Still, they were in great demand, and the government wanted to research them to create lethal weapons. After they killed the last monster, they were satisfied, but not entirely because they still hadn't acquired the precious gems and stones they needed to make more money. Just then, one of the hunters discovered a tunnel, indicating the presence of another dungeon inside. This was a rare occurrence. Leader Song prepared to inform headquarters before taking further steps, but some hunters who could see money in front of their eyes preferred to enter the tunnel. Even Park decided to join them because his wife was pregnant, and they needed a significant amount of money. None of them had any idea about what they were going to face next, but they were confident about the challenges that lay ahead. Song, who wasn't content with their decision, suggested a vote. The vote resulted in a tie because some hunters wanted to enter while others wanted to leave. Everyone had cast their vote except Jinwoo. Song asked Jinwoo to participate, and before refusing, he thought about his mother, who was hospitalized and in need of money for her treatment. He couldn't forget about his sister, who was studying and required financial support. Therefore, he reluctantly gave his approval. They considered it a D-rank dungeon, so they didn't have any other option but to enter. In the company, Mr. Choi is hiring a capable and talented hunter. Instead, they sign a contract with them. On the other hand, a person on a bike snatches a girl's wallet. He feels no regrets and is happy because he plans to have a party. However, his plan is disrupted when he sees a gorgeous girl standing in front of him. He thinks she might be planning to die because she's standing in front of the bike. Just before the bike could hit her, she jumps away like a skilled hunter, winning the hearts of onlookers. As a result, some people in the crowd are injured. A gathering forms around her, and they quickly realize who she is, an S-rank hunter. People look at her as if she's a celebrity. Before the situation worsens, she leaps onto a building and disappears, not giving anyone a chance to ask questions. The people left behind are pleased to have met an S-rank hunter. Meanwhile, it's been almost 40 minutes since they started walking, and they're still looking for their boss. When the portal closes, they'll only have 20 minutes to eliminate the target. While walking, Ju-Jui needs to talk to Jinwoo. Jinwoo notices her concern and apologizes, even though he doesn't fully understand his mistake. Ju-Jui becomes furious and starts insulting him because she feels he has no concern for his life. He recently survived a dangerous situation but seems eager to jump into danger again, despite the scars and wounds all over his body. He refuses to give up. This infuriates Ju-Jui, but Jinwoo can only offer apologies. However, he can't share his sister's and mother's expenses with anyone. Listening to his apologetic words, Ju-Jui calms down a bit. She decides not to forgive him easily and asks him out to dinner. After escaping from that place, Jinwoo is ready for dinner and doesn't fully understand why Ju-Jui is interested in him. After walking for a long while, they finally find a bronze door. But as they look at the elegance of the door, they are stunned because this has never happened before. Some of them prefer to leave without going inside, fearing the unknown. However, those driven by their desire for money can't accept leaving empty-handed. So, despite their fears, they have no choice but to enter. Back in the city, a group of hunters gather for an orientation session. They watch a video of President Go, who explains that the portal they're about to enter has existed for over a decade, and there are still many mysteries within the dungeon. Hunting is a dangerous profession, and even experienced hunters can't afford to let their guard down during a raid mission. They must be cautious. However, in the dungeon, the group of hunters seems to have forgotten these words of caution entirely. They enter a mysterious and dangerous room that has never been explored before. They act as if they're on a casual field trip, showing no sense of the danger that lurks around them. The room contains ancient statues, some of which are holding strange musical instruments. Jinwoo stares at one particularly large statue, feeling uneasy about the eerie silence in the room. Everyone wonders where the boss monster is, and Song notices a magic circle on the ground. His attention is then drawn to a tablet with ancient writings and commandments related to worshipping some kind of god. However, Jinwoo is more concerned about something else. He believes he saw the eyes of the giant statue move, seemingly looking right at them. Jinwoo dismisses this as imagination, but their shock deepens when the door to the room suddenly closes. Panic ensues among the hunters. One woman suggests they might be trapped, but another man shoves her aside, regretting their decision to underestimate the dungeon. He tries to leave, no longer caring about the treasures they hope to find. However, in an instant, half of his body is sliced off by one of the statues. Horror and disbelief grip the remaining hunters as they realize they are facing a formidable enemy. Jinwoo is the most shocked among them, considering that the deceased hunter was of a higher rank than him. He knows he stands no chance against the statues, and the situation makes no sense to him. This dungeon is only supposed to be a D rank, but the statues are anything but ordinary. As chaos unfolds, Jinwoo has a terrifying realization. If one statue can move, then perhaps the others can too. He locks eyes with the giant statue, which seems to return his gaze. His mind races as he contemplates the dire situation they are in. Reflecting on Jinwoo's history, it becomes clear that he has faced numerous life and death situations before. From being separated from his team in his first mission to suffering injuries and hospitalization in encounters with magic beasts, Every dungeon expedition is a perilous endeavor for him. Unlike other hunters who acquire gems and invest in better weapons, Jinwoo has only a modest knife and tattered clothes. He endures constant ridicule, relying on keen observation to find ways to survive. Back in the present, Jinwoo's instincts warn him of the impending danger posed by the giant statue. However, his warning comes too late, as the giant statue releases a powerful beam from its eyes, causing massive destruction. Panic and disbelief grip the team as they realize the direness of their situation. Ju trembles with fear, and Jinwoo is left shocked, knowing that they are trapped with no way out, and their lives are in grave danger. After witnessing the powerful attack, the group debates whether to flee, fearing further attacks. Song advises everyone to stay still to avoid provoking another assault. He commends Jinwoo, acknowledging that they all would have been in grave danger if not for Jinwoo's alertness. Jinwoo, noticing Song's missing arm, attends to him. Song downplays his injury, requesting Jinwoo's help to stop the bleeding. He had hoped to ask Ju, a B-rank healer, but she struggles under pressure, which limits her to easier raids. Song notes that while he has experienced B-rank dungeons, the creature they encountered could be O or even S-rank. Song then recites the Carton and Temple's commandments, which include revering God, praising him, and proving faith. Those who fail to obey these laws will not survive in this place. Jinwoo wonders if the massive statue they saw represents the god mentioned in the commandments. The narrative then shifts to explain that 10 years ago, gates connecting their world to an alternate dimension appeared, leading to supernatural occurrences worldwide. These events gave rise to individuals with special powers, known as hunters, responsible for battling the creatures inside dungeons. A hunter's power, once awakened, remains constant. However, some gates hide monsters that evoke a fear beyond the ordinary. We then see that Jinwoo's sister, Jinna, is at school when one of her friends arrives late. The friend curiously asks if Jinna's brother is a hunter. Jinna confirms, mentioning he's an E-rank and often gets injured, recently coming home covered in bandages. She inquires why her friend is interested, and the friend nonchalantly suggests she could do better than Jinna's brother. Meanwhile, back in the dungeon, Song acknowledges the overwhelming power of the creature they face. He suggests they regroup and find an escape. Another person trapped in the dungeon, not wanting to die after just securing a contract with a major guild, believes he can escape by running at full speed, confident in his swiftness. However, as he attempts to flee, the statue instantly incinerates him. Song realizes they are at the mercy of this powerful entity, and Jinwoo ponders why it hasn't killed them all yet. Recalling the commandments, Jinwoo asks Song to repeat the first one. Song replies that it's to revere God. Jinwoo theorizes that the dungeon operates under its own set of rules. He tries standing up, causing the statue's eyes to glow ominously. Quickly sitting back down, the statue returns to its normal state. Jinwoo then instructs everyone to bow their heads to the statue. The group is confused, not fully understanding his reasoning. Song asks Jinwoo if he's figured something out. Jinwoo explains that the statue won't attack as long as they keep their heads bowed in reverence, following the commandment to revere God. Everyone imitates Jinwoo, bowing their heads. The statue's sinister expression seems to soften, and Park, noticing the statue isn't reacting, bravely stands up. To their relief, the statue remains passive, and the rest of the group also stands. They question if the danger has passed, but Jinwoo reminds them there are still 2 more commandments to consider. Suddenly, the statue comes to life and starts moving. Song asks Jinwoo for a plan, and Jinwoo admits he doesn't have one but emphasizes the importance of adhering to the commandment. The second commandment, to praise God, becomes their focus, but they are unsure how to do it. A hunter, knowledgeable in ethnology, volunteers to try praising the statue using traditional extollments. Unfortunately, his prayers don't affect the statue, which brutally crushes him. The horrifying sight causes the others to scatter in fear. Park, desperate to survive for his family's sake, approaches another statue, hoping for safety. Tragically, this statue swiftly cuts him in half, leaving the group in shock and dismay. While running alongside Juhi, Jinwoo ponders how they can fulfill the commandment to praise the statue. He knows he can't leave Juhi behind and desperately searches for a clue. Meanwhile, the statues continue their deadly rampage, claiming more hunters' lives. Observing closely, Jinwoo notices a key difference. Some statues wield weapons, while others hold musical instruments. He directs everyone towards the statues holding instruments. Song approaches one, and to their relief, the instrument begins to play. The other hunters replicate this, but the instrument of Jinwoo's chosen statue remains silent. Jinwoo quickly deduces the problem. It's inactive because 2 people are standing in front of it. He decides to leave Juhi there and move to another instrument statue, even as the giant statue chases him. The colossal statue attempts to crush Jinwoo, but he agilely dodges the attack. However, he inadvertently lands near a weapon-bearing statue. and narrowly escapes its assault, sustaining some injuries. Despite his wounds, Jinwoo crawls towards a different instrument statue. As the giant statue lunges for another attack, Jinwoo evades it and reaches the instrument statue, triggering its music. The giant statue halts its aggression and returns to its throne. Jinwoo understands that playing the instruments is the way to praise the entity, as required by the commandment. Juhee rushes over to Jinwoo, finding that one of his legs is missing. She attempts to heal him, but Jinwoo cautions her against overexerting herself. Ignoring his warnings, Juhee pushes her powers to the limit, causing her to bleed and eventually forcing her to stop. Kim, overwhelmed by the dire situation, remarks that it feels like a nightmare. He comments regretfully on Song's lost arm, attributing it to Song's rash decision as their leader. He suggests it's a result of karma. The others quickly remind Kim that he was the one pushing to enter the dungeon, but Kim argues that they all agreed on it together. Song, taking responsibility, admits the final decision was his. Jinwoo, sensing the urgency, refocuses the group, reminding them there's still one commandment left. Suddenly, an altar materializes in the room's center. The group is puzzled, but Jinwoo explains it's an altar for offerings to gods, used for treasure and sacrifices. He connects this to the third commandment, the need to prove their faith. Kim suggests a sacrifice is necessary, and, pointing his sword at Song, implies Song should take responsibility for his actions. Song, accepting his fate, approaches the altar, ready to sacrifice himself. Jinwoo internally debates this, believing the situation isn't solely Song's fault since they had voted on their action. As Song nears the altar, a flame ignites beside it, causing confusion among the group. Song looks to Jinwoo, unsure if further action is needed. Jinwoo, deep in thought, requests 2 hunters to escort him to the altar for a closer examination. The group is concerned about potential attacks, but Jinwoo reassures them. Approaching the altar, 3 more flames appear. Song asks Jinwoo if he has figured anything out, but Jinwoo admits he hasn't. He questions whether waiting would lead to rescue, but Song pessimistically notes that the gate has been open for a week, and the statues might reactivate before help arrives. Jinwoo reflects on the dungeon dynamics, realizing that a gate fully opens in 7 days, leading to a dungeon break. This event allows monsters to cross into their world. The main goal of raids is to defeat the dungeon boss and close the gate in time. Failure to do so in their current predicament would mean the monstrous entity could invade their world. In the hospital, Jia is visiting her mother, who is unconscious in her bed. Jia chats away happily to her unresponsive mother, sharing stories about her day. Meanwhile, in a mysterious dungeon, Jinwoo gathers everyone around an altar. He suspects that for each person present, a flame will light up, possibly leading to something happening. As everyone gathers close, individual flames light up, and then blue flames appear, signaling the opening of the room's door. The once still statues begin to ominously move towards the altar, causing confusion among the group. Jinwoo, having observed the pattern, instructs everyone to keep their eyes fixed on the statues, explaining that they only move when not being watched. The group follows Jinwoo's instruction, halting the statues. However, fear overcomes one of the hunters, who runs out of the gate. This causes one of the flames to extinguish, slightly closing the gate. This development leads the group to question their situation. Jinwoo notices the blue flames gradually fading over time. He deduces that the dungeon might be a trap, using danger to create false hope and test their faith. When another hunter leaves, Jinwoo warns the remaining group about potential blind spots and reassures them that as long as they keep watching the statues, they'll be safe. He believes that the blue flames act as a timer, and their extinguishing will signal their escape. Kim, acknowledging Jinwoo's crucial role in their survival, feels torn between staying and returning to his family. He decides to leave, hopeful for a reunion with his loved ones. Jinwoo, despite the dwindling numbers, remains determined to find a way out. Song then urges Jinwoo and Juhee to escape, saying the door will remain open as long as someone stays behind. As Juhee attempts to help Jinwoo leave, she collapses, likely due to overexertion from her earlier healing attempts. Jinwoo, now faced with a difficult decision, contemplates their next move in the perilous dungeon. In the dire situation, Jinwoo urges Song to escape with Juhee, insisting he's the only one who can carry her out safely. Despite Juhee's reluctance, Jinwoo reassures her by promising a meal out and gives her an essence stone to buy dinner, playfully saying he'll ask for the change later. Juhee protests, but Song quickly knocks her out, facilitating their escape. Left alone, Jinwoo reflects on his fate, regretting not having better insurance and vowing to take down at least one enemy with him. However, his efforts to fight back are futile against the overpowering statues, which soon dismember and beat him mercilessly. Amidst the pain, Jinwoo thinks about his desire to be stronger and his limited success. He recalls Kim's words and understands Kim's need to return to his family, acknowledging that often the most selfish are the ones who benefit. Jinwoo, too, realizes he doesn't want to die. In the critical moment, as the statues prepare for a final blow, time runs out, and they halt. Suddenly, Jinwoo sees a notification about a quest, offering him the chance to become a player. The message warns of imminent death if he declines. With only a fraction of a second to decide, Jinwoo chooses to accept, embracing this unexpected opportunity for survival. This brings an end to our episode. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe our channel for more episodes.